The mind should be kept serene, full of kind thoughts, kept under control, and made to consider every thought from the standpoint of absolute honesty. Speech must not cause anger. It must be true, it must be agreeably spoken, and it must be beneficial to whom it is addressed. End of quote. These words have such relevance and valued advice to all of us here today, and I'm sure you will agree with all politicians in the current election campaigns. Actually, this is a quotation from a book published in 1962 entitled The Gita, a personal view written by Dr. Rudranath Capildeo. I would like to congratulate Nallis Library and Mr. Louis Homer for staging this exhibition in Port of Spain. Indeed, it is a fitting tribute to one of the great West Indian intellectuals of the 20th century. This year also marks the 90th anniversary of his birth. Who was this enigma from Chagonas who achieved so much in a relatively short lifespan of 50 years? In 1937, he won the Jerningham Gold Medal for topping the country in the Cambridge Senior Exam. 2 years later, this brilliant student would repeat such a performance at the Cambridge Higher School Certificate Exam, and he was awarded the prestigious Island Scholarship in 1939. He left the land of his birth to study medicine in London, but due to ill health, opted to study mathematics at the University College in London. In 1943, he achieved a BSc degree with first-class honors in special mathematics. This earned him the Ellen Watson Scholarship, and he pursued further studies with his master's degree in 1945. The young Rudranath was not only academically inclined, but he also showed remarkable organizational skills. Whilst at the university, he founded the West Indian Students' Union at Earl's Court in London in 1942, and in 1944 was elected president of the University College Students' Union. His homesickness and longing for the tropical climate would have influenced his decision to return to Trinidad in 1945. He briefly taught mathematics at Queen's Royal College, but ill health and personal disappointments prompted him to return to London. It seemed like a law of nature that Rudranath would gravitate to a PhD degree. Whilst in this doctoral program, he was employed as a student demonstrator in applied mathematics and later as assistant lecturer at the University College in London. The attainment of a PhD in mathematical physics in 1948 was no surprise to his academic colleagues. Subsequent lecturing stints at the University College in London and the University of Khartoum in Sudan, Africa, coupled with numerous publications, scientific writings, made Dr. Capildeo an indomitable force with which to reckon in academic world. With temporary setbacks in his academic life, he remained undaunted in pursuit of excellence. Upon his return to England, he was pursuing a degree. 2 years later, in 1958, he was called to the bar in London with a stable job and a promising future as a lawyer, decided to trade it all for a life in Trinidad and Tobago and petty party politics in 1959. It is difficult to assess the political involvement of Dr. Capildeo, a brilliant mind trapped in a fragile human vessel. Dr. Capildeo was in control of and at ease with studying gravitational forces, but could not deal with voting machines, nor heal the dissension, squabbling, and infighting within the Democratic Labour Party. He understood the rotation of the galaxy, but was unable to understand the racial polarization, the divisive nature of race in the very country of his birth. Indeed, during the 1960s, Trinidad was on the brink of a racial war. Dr. Capildeo's challenge to Dr. Williams, then Prime Minister, who had a PhD in history, resulted in the coining of the term Dr. Politics. Dr. Capildeo's disillusionment with the political scenario here was evident. It was no surprise that he spent considerable time in England lecturing whilst his seat in Parliament remained vacant. Despite the controversy surrounding Dr. Capildeo's absence and some of his controversial political statements, his greatest achievement as a politician was displayed at the Marlborough House in London for the independence discussions in May 1962. The DLP delegation was responsible for democratic safeguards being inserted in the Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago, and the delegation dropped its demands for elections before independence. Have the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago done enough to honor this son of the soil? Yes, to a certain extent. In 1969, he was awarded the Trinity Cross, and after his death, the Learning Resource Center in Vancouver was named in his honor in 1991. Later, in 2005, the UTT, University of Trinidad and Tobago, bestowed a posthumous degree on this great man. But we should do more. We should do more for this great son of the soil. We should provide an annual Dr. Rudranath Capildeo Mathematics Scholarship at CXC, Cape, Port UWI. Maybe, as my friend Louis Homer said a few years ago, an academic chair could be established at UWI or UTT to attract academics in the Caribbean and abroad to enhance their careers. Undoubtedly, there is need for an annual memorial lecture to remember and to celebrate this mathematical genius. Dr. Capildeo, mathematician and scientist par excellence. He knew about the laws of probability and the element of chance. Yes, I am certain and confident his chances of living longer would have been much more if he did not venture into the political arena and accepted the role of leader of the Democratic Labour Party. Today we can only speculate on the outcome. If Dr. Capildeo had never entered our party politics and remained in academia, remained in his teaching career at the university, there's a high probability that on the basis of his theory of gravitation and his published works, he would have been awarded the prestigious Nobel Prize in Physics. For those who knew this intellectual giant's contribution to the scientific field, it is no secret that he was our Albert Einstein. I thank you.